Hey BoLS fans, welcome to another BoLS Battle Report. Today we have the Tyranids versus the Alpha Legion, some Ad Mech guys. Some 30k style here. Say hi, Chris.
Hey.
Chris is playing his super awesome pre-heresy 30k Alpha Legion guys with some awesome Ad Mech guys too. So got some awesome Forge World things going on. Big Red designed a crazy special scenario for us. So first I'm going to go over the scenario, and then I'm going to go over the list with you guys. So first off, we're fighting on this crazy ice planet that he put together here. As you can see, the whole theme of this game is that it's a Ad Mech research facility that was overrun by an unknown alien life form. So we've got a bunch of crazy objectives. There's one here. There's a guy here. He's an objective. There's an Arvis Lighter. That's the objective. And then there's a building over there that's got an objective on top. Those are just tokens. Those aren't the actual objectives. Some of the defenses work. The sentry cannons on there, on the top of those buildings work, but you have to activate them. The quad cannon up here, that works, but the big macro cannon and the other turret do not work. So he's not going to be macro cannoning me for the entire game. Sorry, folks. But it's a pretty straightforward scenario. Two of the objectives are fake. So the first person to get there rolls a die on a 4+. That was one of the real ones. If we happen to get down to the last two, those two objectives are the real ones. So pretty straightforward scenario. We've already deployed, but we'll go over the list real fast. And we'll start off with the Tyranids. Just going to walk down the flank here. So first off, I have a Haruspex. He's got adrenal glands for the upgrade, but other than that, he's straight out of the book. I've got a squad of 19 Hormagaunts. You can see them all lined up there in the front, take shots in the face. But they have toxin sacks, so if they get in combat, they are a little bit more deadly than normal. I've got a Hive Tyrant, so you can see in the middle. He's got the Heavy Venom Cannon and then Lashos Bone Sword, and he's also accompanied by 2 Tyrant Guard with Lashos Bone Swords as well. Behind them, I have a unit of 3 Venom Thropes, providing myself with some cover. And then I've got 2 Screamer Killer Carnifexes without the bioplasma, just because the whole theme of this army is actually close combat. I don't know if you guys caught on to that, but I have very, very little shooting. They do have spine banks, but other than that, there's really not a whole lot of shooting. And then infiltrating, I have 2 squads of 12 Gene Stealers that are jumped up in a pile over in the back. So they're not infiltrating, excuse me, they are outflanking. So I just figured since 2 objectives were near the board edge, it might be fun to try to come in from the sides. So, but that's the Tyranid list. We're only playing 1,500 points. So it's a lean, mean fighting machine with my Karate Kid Nids. So let's go take a look at the Ad Mech and the Alpha Legion.
Got my Mechanicum with Alpha Legion Army. Just go over from left to right here. So right here I got a unit of Cataphracta Terminators with all with Kami Beltas. The Sergeant has a Thunderhammer and a Power Dagger. Over here I have a Archmagos Lacrymalis with a Melt-A-Gun, a Chain Fist, and a Jetpack. And he's with 6 Thalax with 2 Multi-Meltas. Going over here, I have Alpha Legion Praetor with Paragon Blade and a Power Dagger and an Iron Halo. And 10 Headhunters are with him, and they have a Sergeant with an Artificer Armor and a Power Fist. Back there I have 20 Ad Secularis Covenant, and they have Carapace Armor and Rite of Pure Thought and Alchemistry. And then over there I've got a unit of 5 Tartaros Terminators with Power Axes. So that's it. Like you said, 1,500 points, so not a lot of space.
We are getting started, ready for turn 1. I am actually going second, so the Alpha Legion and the Ad Mech have first turn, but I'm going to roll the C's right now live on camera. Grab my die here, and it's a 1. Does not bode well for the Nids. So we'll kick it over to Ad Mech turn 1. Turn 1 for the Alpha Ad Mech was actually, shooting-wise and stuff was kind of uneventful, moving-wise uneventful, but he did get super lucky because both of these objectives, this one here and this one here, he rolled 4 ups on. So those are the real objectives. The other 2 we can pretty much just take off the board because they don't matter at this point. So it looks like this half of the board is going to be some pretty heavy throwdown stuff over here. So yeah, good for him. Other than that, everything just kind of scooted, moved up.
Killed a Gaunt.
He did kill a Gaunt, the last cannon from the Sentry on a BS2. Killed a Gaunt in Ruin cover with the Venom Throat. It was a 2-up. I rolled a 1, so that Gaunt was meant to go. So I lost 1 on the end. It took some other shooting, but it was pretty ineffectual. He shot the Carnifexes with This squad here with the Bane, what was it called?
Bane Strike.
Bane Strike rounds. So those are on a 6 to wound, they become AP3, which actually would have hurt the Carnifexes minus the cover save. So
Except I didn't wound.
it didn't wound, so exactly. They are still strength 4.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. We'll kick it over to Tyranid Turn 1. For the bugs, Turn 1. Just pretty much moved up. I actually failed my assault with the Hormagaunts to try to get on those guys. I was pretty close, just outside. So, it happens. Whatever. Moving on. The Hive Tyrant actually managed to fire his heavy venom cannon onto the Thanatar, or not Thanatar, excuse me, squad. And I hit 2 of them. I did 1 wound to the guy up front. He's got a 2-up save, so Chris rolled a 1. Luckily, he's tough 5, so it didn't instant blow him up. So good luck, good thing for him. The Carnifex has also attempted to charge this squad here that had infiltrated up. I needed a 9, and I rolled a 7, so just barely missed it. The Horospex moved up. He ran a whole 1 inch, so he's super excited to get in combat. And the Gaunts, again, my Gaunt wall just moved up. So that's pretty much it for the Tyranid Turn 1. So it is Alpha Ad Mech Turn 2.
So Alpha Legion Ad Mech Turn 2. Not a lot happened, I guess. I moved forward some more. Advanced over on this flank a little bit. And the main thing I did is the Headhunters here advanced and then assaulted the Hormagaunts. And thanks to their Hammer of Wrath plus their number of attacks and everything, they killed quite a few of them. Was it like 10?
Killed 9 in combat and,
9.
and 2 more from shooting, so 11 former Gaunts died this turn.
Yeah, so kind of trying to take the middle there. But it looks like I've got a bunch of monstrous creatures ready to counterattack into my unit starting next turn.
Okay, so Tyranid Turn 2, a little bit more exciting. For me, I did actually end up smashing that whole unit, but we'll get to that in a second. I roll for reserves. This squad came in, and then this squad still off the board, so they did not. They outflanked. I did roll a 6, so I got to choose a board edge. I came in on this board edge, and again, because the rules change and all that fun stuff, Gene Stealer can no longer assault the turn they come in, so that's why they're all packed in like sardines in between these 2 buildings, trying to avoid direct line of sight from all that fun stuff. But I'm sure Chris will find something to shoot me with. So I'll try to minimize my casualties on that end. With the consolidations after winning that combat, my Hive Tyrant did challenge the Praetor to a throwdown because Paragon Blade versus Bone Sword was going to be fun. I did manage to do 3 wounds to the Praetor, no instant death. Praetor managed to do 2 wounds back to the Hive Tyrant, no instant death back on him. But then the rest of the squad, once the Carnifexes swang with their strength 9, each guy having 5 attacks because of the 2 sets of Southern Talons, that just kind of did 8 wounds to the whole squad and broke everything. So pretty much how that went down, and they consolidated into cover. Again, the Venomthropes, that's my plan anyway. Horospex running yet again for 1. So he's moved a total of 14 inches in 2 turns. So good job, Horospex. So that's how it's looking right now. I do have Synaptic Linchpin, by the way, for my Warlord trait, so that's why I can get away with that. So we'll kick it over to Alpha Ad Mech for their turn. Ad Alpha Mech Legion turn. So they shuffled around. These guys will start on this flank. These guys moved around, fired. Unfortunately, didn't do much to the Carnifexes. But this squad, what are these guys called again?
Ad Secularis.
The Ad Secularis, thank you. They are pretty ballsy. I gotta give them props for that. They charged in to the Carnifexes to avoid getting Hammer Wrath back when I charge in, and took that hit. But I ended up killing four of them, and they actually did a wound back to the Carnifexes. So kind of a good trade for them, just putting damage on them.
And they're fearless.
And they're fearless, so they're gonna hang out just like we are. So it's gonna be a good way to tie them up. Over here, this Terminator squad moved in, assaulted the assaulted the Gaunts, and tore them up pretty good. Managed to kill 5 of them. There's only 2 Hormagaunts left. They did no wounds back, even with poison. Made all of his 2-up saves, so they're hanging out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this turn. And now we'll kick it over to the Tyranids. Tyranid Turn. Yeah, let me run through the turn real fast. I did get into multiple combats across the board. The Gene Stealers moved up. This Gene Stealer squad did come in. However, this squad failed the assault move, and I'll get to that right now, actually. So for my turn, I guess the Tyrant and the Tyrant Guard are out of gas after killing the Praetor because they totally bounced against these Terminators. Ran in there, charged, did a bunch of wounds. They made all their saves. They just just out of gas at this point. Hopefully they got a refill in between the next turn now. But the Gene Stealers came in. They had to make an 8 to get into combat. I rolled a 7, so they were just shy of getting into close combat. Everything else just moved around. These Carnifexes still locked in with that giant squad, so they're hanging out. This one lone Gaunt very bravely held off the Terminators. Otherwise, possibly could have gotten the Harspecs run down, but he's out of synapse. He did, but I did pass him around. That's right. On a 5, I rolled a 5, 2 dice. So good job rolling low. Harspecs, we lost combat, obviously. Did I kill any? I killed one guy, and I would have regen a wound, but I hadn't taken any yet. But now he took 2, so Harspecs is down 2. But that's pretty much it. We're all tied up in combat, and it is getting bloody.
Alpha Legion Ad Mech turn 4 was pretty good. Over on this flank, the Terminators passed all their saves again and killed the Tyrant Guard and put the Tyrant down to 1 wound. Over in the middle, the Archmagios and the Thalax charged into the Carnifex that the Adsecularis were holding up, and the Magios Chain Fist put a hurting down, and there's only one barely wounded Carnifex left there. Over on this flank, the Tartarus Terminators finished off the single Gaunt, and then did a couple wounds to the Harspecs, and he was out of synapse and actually broke and ran over there away from them. So right now, got a decent hold on the center, but there's all these Gene Stealers over on this side going for this objective. And all in all, it looks pretty rough.
Pretty quick Tyranid turn, bottom of the turn. Basically, I just assaulted with these Gene Stealers here. These Gene Stealers that were back there moved up 6, and then I needed a 6 or 7 to make it, and I failed it by 1 inch again. So that's like the 3rd time I've missed an assault this game. These Gene Stealers, though, did happen to make it. They got in there. The Hive Tyrant had taken a wound from a Thunderhammer, so he was swinging last anyway, but he bounced. The Gene Stealers managed to kill the other 3 Terminators with 33 attacks on the charge, because 3 attacks, 11 Gene Stealers, you do the math. I got a crazy amount of Rens, it was like 9 Rens, something insane like that, and then 8 Rens and 9 regular saves. So quite a bit of damage from those Gene Stealers.
To me, having a guy left is pretty good.
Yeah, so the fact that the guy with the Thunderhammer is still there hanging out is pretty good. Carnifex died miserably to the Chain Fist. That thing is brutal, man. That was a surprise when it happened, and yeah, goodbye Carnifexes. So they definitely, the Alpha Ad Mech Legion list has definitely got a nice firm foothold on the center now. And my last couple of units here, this guy did rally, so I did pass the leadership check, so he didn't freak out and do like a feed thing or anything. So he's back in there. So, but yeah, we'll kick it over now to Alpha Legion. Top of the turn for Alpha Mech, pretty good for them. They managed to punch a lot of things to oblivion. So I'll start back here. No more Venom Throats. The Terminators got in there and just did a number on them, dropped them super fast. Over here, was it Magios?
The Magios.
Magios, excuse me. He got in there with a unit and just dropped the Hive Turret. The Gene Stealers did manage to kill the last Terminator and put several wounds on the unit, but they're still there. I actually won that combat with the Gene Stealers, but they hung out because their leadership was high enough. I only won by 2 or something like that, but he's still in there, still hanging out. So we're going to go to the Tyranids, and I've got my Gene Stealers, so it's going to be a big Ad Mech Gene Stealer throwdown. Whose cult's better, Ad Mech or Gene Stealers? Let's find out. Tyranid Turn, bottom of the turn here. Gene Stealers did their thing. I want to point this out, one more thing too. The Harspecs, who made his leadership check so he could do something, failed yet again to make an assault there. I needed like a 6 or 7, and again, I rolled a 4 this time, so it wasn't as bad, but I just can't seem to get to the assaults when I need them, so that's the thing. Over here, the Gene Stealers, like I said, mopped up. It actually was really close. It came down to the break check, and then me running down the Magios. Yeah, so it was pretty brutal. I had this squad, the fresh squad that charged in, did 5 Rens and another 10 wounds. And then this squad did a bunch of damage as well. So it was just enough. I won combat by 4. It was just the Magios left, and that's what happened. I ran him down. So he actually took a bunch of wounds too, but passed some feeling of pain. So he stood back up and then ran him down. So it's looking pretty brutal. I've got 3 units left on the board. Chris has got 2. So we'll see what happens here.
Bottom of 5?
It is bottom of 5, so he's going to roll to see if the game ends. It is over. That is 1 turn. So we'll do a quick recap count, and then, final tally. Here we come. All right, live on camera. Let's do the final tally. So we got objectives. I got 1 for 3 points. Chris has got 1 for 3 points. So green die, Nids.
3 to 3.
3 to 3. What's
All right.
next? We got Warlords.
Warlords, we each got our other Warlords, so
It's
4 to 4.
4.
Nid's got first blood with the Praetor and the Headhunters.
Boom.
And it looks like the Alpha Legion have Linebreaker.
They do.
So it looks like a straight 5 to 5 tie down the middle.
Wow. Alpha Ad Mech versus some strange organisms I never encountered before. Well, thanks for watching. That was a pretty close one. It really did come down to that last fight there, just being able to roll, getting a good, I rolled a 5 to get back, so I was able to do that and came down to the wire. So, yeah, final thoughts, Chris?
It's always interesting doing 30K versus 40K. Normally I like to keep the 30K lists insular to themselves, but it was interesting getting to play against a 40K army, especially Nids, which is one that's so different than anything we really see in 30K. And yeah, it's a fun time though.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, we kind of did a thing where it's not, I wouldn't call my list a traditional Nid list either.
No.
I didn't have a lot of Psychic Phase. It's pretty much we skipped it most of the time because the only real Psychic power I was worried about was the extended Synapse, and I didn't roll.
For your Warlord trait.
Yeah, I had that for the Warlord trait, and I rolled some crappy powers I didn't even care about anyway. So that didn't really come into play too much. The Gene Stealers actually getting into combat for the not the first time for me, but for the first time in a long time for me. They usually get shot off the board. I don't ever see anybody taking Screamer Killer style Carnifexes with, there's no Devourers in my list at all. That was new. So yeah, it was fun. I was expecting Alpha Legion to have a lot more shooting for some reason in my head. I just thought like, oh, I'm going to get shot. I think it's just...
Well, normally 30K lists have the, have those big Pride of the Legion tactical squads, but since I was doing Pride of the Legion and had Terminators as troops, I just didn't have as many shots as normal.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it worked out. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. Chris, thanks for playing.
Thanks.
Yep, thanks for watching. Have a good one. AdamHarry from BoLS signing off.